Okay, here's Karen. Hi, Karen.
Hi, Jen. Good to see you. It's been a long time.
I know. I was trying to think. I probably met you about 5 years ago, right?
Yeah, I was looking at some emails like when we started conversing back and forth. Well,
Yeah.
actually, I think it was in 2009 or 10
Probably, yeah.
in Edmonton.
Get out. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah, you came to
That's right.
Edmonton.
That Edmonton would have been the first time.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So Karen Toth was one of my first experiences with ABM. Well, you were our second experience, I believe,
Yeah.
with Sarah. Yeah, she was about 2 or 3.
Yeah.
That was a
She was
long
just
time
a wee
ago.
girl. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So you've been doing this for a while, Miss Karen Toth.
I have.
Um, what's your background for everybody?
Well, my background is I just kind of, I came from uh, teaching at the Y in a group class, and then I took weight training, and I came into Pilates. And when I finished my Pilates hours, I went into the studio because there was no Pilates at the time anywhere. So I went into the studio to lay on the floor to do a movement lesson. And there was somebody else there, and she was doing something that was really strange. Like I'd never experienced it before. It was really slow. We took a lot of rests, and it's just like, I got up and I'm like, whoa, what is this?
Yeah.
So I went back into Toronto and did it again another day. And she did a movement lesson that you were on your side. And she got us up halfway through the movement lesson. And you could see the difference from everybody.
Yeah.
One side of the face to the other, the whole body, all the way
Body,
down.
yeah. Like
And
it's your
I
own,
was just
right?
like, wow, this stuff is really powerful. And so then I started going into Toronto to Marion Harris. She had the Feldenkrais Center, because this was before Anat Baniel.
Right, yeah.
I mean, Anat was teaching at the time,
Yeah.
but she was teaching under the Feldenkrais method. So, yeah, so I started going into Toronto and doing workshops at her studio, and I applied this to my Pilates right from 1999
Right.
on. So it's been a while.
A journey, yeah.
Yeah.
And so when did you start working with the children?
I started working with the kids in 2008.
Yeah. So you went through did you get your Feldenkrais training, or you just kind of?
When I did my training, it was her last time doing the Feldenkrais training.
Right.
So I got both at the
Both.
same time. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. So we never actually said where are you located? So
Okay. I'm located in Kitchener, Ontario, Canada.
But you like to travel, right?
I do love to travel and working with kids, and I meet so many families and kids, and it's
Yeah. So
amazing.
what is something that was popular a couple years ago, because there wasn't very many ABM practitioners, was to invite a traveling practitioner into the families community and gather up a bunch of families. And then it just was more cost effective for the practitioner to travel to them. And so you've been a part of that for quite a while, and you've traveled around the world, and you've done really fun things, and you're still open to that, right? So people,
Oh,
families can
yes.
contact you, and yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's very exciting. That's pretty cool. If I didn't have children, I would totally do that.
Oh, well, in 20 years.
Yeah, right. Okay, so I'm going to ask a few tough questions.
Okay.
So how would you, in one sentence, how would you define ABM? So no, you run into somebody who doesn't know what you do. They're like, oh, that's interesting. In one sentence, kind of what would you tell them? Because it's very hard to define. So what is your take on neuromovement?
Yeah, that's a fun one.
I know, right?
It's like, really through movement. Well, movement is the language of the brain. So through that movement and brain, I transform people's lives.
Yeah, perfect. And I know as a practitioner, as you go through training, it can transform your own life, right?
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Yeah. And meeting these kids can transform your
Yes.
own life. So in one word, what does ABM mean for you?
I growth.
Growth.
Yeah, growth.
That's a good one. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. So, I know you see quite a few kids in different stages and different diagnoses and stuff. And if you could give a parent any advice at the beginning of the journey, like right after diagnosis, what would your number one tip or your biggest advice be?
I would say get into it and do it as quickly as possible. And a lot of parents, what I notice is they do go into a mourning process because the child isn't what they were expecting, and a lot of things. So honor that, but also trust your instincts.
Yeah. Big.
Trust your instincts is a big one, because the parents know way before a doctor will ever prescribe or anything. Yeah.
Well, what I found was some of the really hard. We have a really rare diagnosis, so doctors didn't know what to tell us. Some doctors don't even know what to tell you. So you're kind of floating out there. Keep your child alive and all's good, right? So you're kind of floating out there without somebody medically kind of guiding you. And so that was really hard. So,
yeah. And I find like a lot of the doctors really don't know, and
no, they don't know.
They have no clue. Like, they want to do their best, but they don't know. And some of them just back off and like send you like to the sick kids around here, right?
Yeah. But finding, especially in Vancouver, because there's so many of us now, that there are doctors being referring us. So that's great. Pretty exciting. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is exciting. Yeah. So on that same kind of line, what is the number one question you get asked by parents? So you see kids for, if you've given a few lessons, and what's kind of the number one question that parents ask?
Well, sometimes it's like, okay, will my child walk? Will they talk? Depending on the person. And it's like, I don't really say yay or nay, because you can kind of get a sense. Like, I don't want to work with somebody that I'm not going to get results. So I always make sure I'm getting results with the kids. And then it's like, well, let's see where they're going to go next. And you can tell the difference between a parent that's like, really there and observing all the little changes and are excited about it.
Yeah.
And it's interesting how that enables the child to also be excited about the changes.
Yeah. So one of Anat's essentials is enthusiasm, and it goes a long way, doesn't it?
Yeah. So those are kind of things. So I never say, but it's interesting. Like, I had one girl start coming to me when she was 7, and like they walked her, right? But after about a year and a half, I always said, as soon as she learns to crawl, her whole life will change, and it did. So finally we got her crawling, and now she's actually taken steps on her own at age 9 and pretty well walking and starting to be more vocal and verbal.
Yeah, that's so exciting, right? Like, brain change can happen at any age, right? Really, right?
Yeah, which is awesome.
Yeah. There's getting in as soon as you can is important, but also don't stress too much if you're not there anymore, right? Like if you have an older child, or you work with lots of adults with traumatic brain injuries and stuff too, I'm sure, right?
Yeah.
And they change. Your brain changes at any age.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I think one of the big things that I find the parents, it's like, oh, I wished I would have found this earlier. And it's like, it's okay. We're here now. Let's go from here.
Yeah, you do the best that you can with what you know, right? Yeah. That's awesome. Okay. So anything else you want to tell our lovely parents and caregivers about ABM or about yourself?
Well, about ABM, definitely following the 9 essentials, and you can kind of see it there back in the background. It's really important. Like, if you're going to do anything with your child, you want to do it with attention.
Yeah.
You want to do it slow. You want to use variations. You want to do it very subtly. just, all of these things wake up the brain so powerfully, and it's like you want to continue on that cycle. And enthusiasm, I kind of changed that. My own thing is I
Okay.
wonder, like you're
Yes.
coming in like a little kid. It's like, oh, I wonder if I do this or if I do that, or like, oh, what'll happen if I do, like, so it's kind of playful and curiosity that
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like to use that.
I
So
like that too. I use that a lot. Start to be curious about yourself. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So not only with your child, but if you get on the floor and do some of the movement lessons yourself, like I've had a few parents do it,
Hmm.
and then as you know, how you change.
Oh, you changed dramatically. And yeah, I wouldn't be the same practitioner if I didn't know how it felt within my own body. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think that's the good thing. It's very experiential.
Yeah.
So you change, and then that the changes are possible, and what outcomes you have no idea, but they're always exciting, and it's like, wow.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's so amazing how their brains reorganize things, right? And you
Yeah,
don't know what's going to come out.
I know, it's
It's
so
like
exciting.
Christmas.
Yeah, it is. It's a new gift every time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right, right.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, so that's great. Where can people find you? Because I know you're online quite a bit. You have a Facebook page.
I do. Yeah. Healthy Body Moves. That's with an S on the end of moves.
Okay, I'll link it below somewhere in
Okay.
the comments. And do you have a website still?
I do, but it's on holidays right now. But it's Healthy Body Moves as well.
Okay. Okay. Well, we'll link your Facebook group for sure.
Okay.
So if there's any families in the Kitchener area who
Mhm.
want to contact you, they can. And also remember that Karen loves to travel, and she's been all around the world. Let's do that. um, yeah. So thanks for coming on, Karen. It's great to
Well,
catch up.
great to see you.
Yeah, we'll have to catch up a little bit more in the next lesson or the
Okay.
next interview. Um,
Okay.
okay, so take care, and thanks, guys, for joining. It's Jen with Mindful Moves, and we'll chat after this. Thanks.